Saxon Math for 6th grade. Today we're working on lesson 26, and we're going to be dividing or multiplying mixed numbers. I know it says multiplying and dividing, same difference. All right, here's your rule. If you're going to be working with fractions, and you have mixed numbers or whole numbers, change them into fractions first before you start multiplying and dividing by other fractions. As always, if I go too fast, please pause the video or back it up. We're going to be doing these problems in multiple steps. The first step will be the new material. The first step will be to change our mixed numbers into fractions. Our second step, for those that are division, will be to review yesterday, to take the reciprocal of the second number and multiply. And our last step will be canceling out or reducing before we multiply so that we won't have to do that work at the end. So let's see what that looks like. Here we go. First problem. 3 2/3 times 1 1/2. First thing I need to do, since I'm working with fractions, I want to change any mixed numbers or whole numbers into fractions first. So we're going to change this mixed number into an improper fraction. As you remember from class, you multiply times the whole number and then add on the numerator. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11. So 3 2/3 can also be written as 11/3, times 1 1/2. Take the denominator, multiply times the whole number, add the numerator. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3, halves. Excellent. Now I've got a multiplication problem. I want to reduce before I multiply. Let's see what I can cancel out of the top and the bottom. I have 11 here. 11's prime, I won't divide by anything. I have 2 here, there's no 2 on the top, but I do have a 3 on the top and on the bottom. I can cancel out the 3's before I multiply. Now, 11 times 1 is 11. 1 times 2 is 2. I'm not done. Once you're done, once you finish multiplying or dividing, you need to change it back into simplest form, which is going to be either a whole number, a mixed number, or a reduced fraction. 11 halves, well, 2 times 5 makes 10. So I could take 5 2's out of the 11 and change it to 5 wholes, which will leave me with 1/2 left over. This would be the best answer. Let's try it again with another problem. 1 1/2, and I want to square it. So that means I could rewrite this as 1 1/2 times 1 1/2. Okay? Here's our new rule for today. Change our mixed numbers and whole numbers into fractions first. I have 2 mixed numbers. To change it to an improper fraction, take the denominator, multiply times the whole number, add the numerator. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 more is 3. 3 halves times, going to be 3 halves again. I want to cancel out anything I can from the top and the bottom before I multiply. 3's and 2's, nothing to cancel. 3 times 3 is 9. 2 times 2 is 4. Now, let's write this as a mixed number. Right now, it's an improper fraction. Take 9, divide by 4. How many 4's are there in 9? There's 2. How many are left over? 1. Keep it over 4. 1 1/2 squared is 2 1/4. Let's look at what this looks like with area of a square. Let's say I wanted to find the area of a square, and I knew that one side was 2.5 inches. We know area of a square can be found by multiplying 2 adjacent sides. And we know that all the sides are equal. So if this one's 2.5, this one is also 2.5. So my problem becomes 2.5 times 2.5. All right, same steps. Change our mixed numbers into fractions. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. 5 halves times 5 halves. Cancel out if there's anything to reduce. There's not. 5 times 5 is 25. 2 times 2 is 4. Now let's turn it back into a mixed number. Take 25 and divide by 4. How many 4s are there in 25? Well, there should be 6 4s. 6 times 4 would give me 24, with 1 left over to get up to 25. Keep your denominator, 6 and 1/4. All right, last time, and now we have a division problem. Start by practicing your rule. Change mixed numbers and whole numbers into fractions. I've got both a mixed number and a whole number. Let's change this to an improper fraction. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11, divided by 2. To change a whole number into a fraction, you just put it over 1. Now, think back to our lesson that we learned just the other day. When we're dividing by fractions, we take the reciprocal of the second number and we multiply. 11/3 times 1 over 2. See, we're just taking the reciprocal and we change to multiplication. Now, cancel out if there's anything to cancel. There's not. 11 times 1 is 11. 3 times 2 is 6. Let's change that into a mixed number. 11 divided by 6 is 1, with 5 left over. So our final answer would be 1 and 5/6. Use those same steps to do all of these types of problems.